Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So the last update about Twist of Fate. After the whole family got to know that Prachi is pregnant for Rambro, Aliyah manipulated Pallavi to reject Prachi's baby, and Prachi decided to leave the house so that Ria can be happy, thinking that Ria is actually pregnant for Rambro. But Rambro begged Prachi not to leave the house. So let's continue. After the entire family got to know that Prachi is pregnant, Prachi decided to leave the house to make Ria happy, thinking that Ria is really pregnant for Rambro. Rambro signals to Prachi not to go. Prachi thinks that it is too late, Rambro. I will not stay back. Prachi started walking out of the house. Shahana is about to take Prachi's trolley, but Pallavi stops Prachi and says you cannot go like this. She says this bag will be inside the house. Prachi says the bag has just my stuff. Shahana asks why is Prachi clarifying and says when Prachi is leaving the house, then Pallavi wants to blame her for theft. Pallavi asks Shahana not to interfere and says whoever bag it is, that person will stay here and this bag too. Pallavi says my daughter-in-law would not leave this house. Aliyah, Ria and others are shocked. Aliyah asks, what are you doing, Pallavi? We did not talk this downstairs, and says Ria is your daughter-in-law. And she asks Pallavi to say that your daughter-in-law should stay here and Prachi should leave. Aliyah asks Pallavi that why are you stopping Prachi from leaving the house? Pallavi asks Aliyah to shut up. She says when I was in the hospital, I was thinking what is happening in my house. She says I was told that my daughter-in-law Ria is pregnant, and now they says that Prachi is also pregnant. Pallavi says to everyone that I used to think that Ria is my daughter-in-law. Now I think that Prachi is my daughter-in-law. Ria asks, what have you thought, that I am not your daughter-in-law? Pallavi says not now. Pallavi asks Prachi to come inside and she takes her inside. Rambro, Vikram and Grandma are surprised with Pallavi's changed behavior. Pallavi says, I don't apologize to anyone until I realize it or I feel guilty. Pallavi says she had felt guilty long before, but her mind has stopped her from apologizing. Pallavi says, I am sorry, Prachi. I am really sorry for hurting you, for all the pain which I gave you. I scolded you a lot and said so much to you. Pallavi says to Prachi that Aliyah called you as a barren woman and I let her say that. She says, I am sorry about that. You taught me as your mother, but I couldn't become your mother-in-law. Pallavi says sorry. I am sorry by heart. She says for all the tears which you have flown out of your eyes, I am sorry about that. Pallavi says to Prachi that I always used to scold you because of Aliyah. She says Aliyah used to provoke me and she wants me to throw you out when you are pregnant. She says I shouldn't have heard Aliyah. Pallavi says I am apologizing to you by my heart. I couldn't do your grab Peresh, but I will not let you go from here. Pallavi says to Prachi that your forgiveness would help me become a good mother too. If you leave today, then I will lose myself. Pallavi says I did not ask anything yet and she asks for forgiveness. She says even a mother is apologizing to you. A mother-in-law can do a mistake, but a mother can never be wrong. Pallavi asks Prachi to forgive her and she asks, how can I let you go in this condition? She says, I used to think how you can win from my 9 months, but now you have 7 rounds and 9 months. Pallavi apologized to Prachi on Rambro's behalf. Prachi says, I cannot say anything about Rambro. Pallavi says, don't say this. You are angry now, but don't leave. Prachi goes to her room. Grandma asks Pallavi and says, I am very happy. This house got Pallavi, and I got my daughter-in-law, and you got your daughter-in-law too. Prachi goes to her room and she cries, thinking about Pallavi's apology. She recalls Pallavi's bad behavior towards her and the Sindor incident when Pallavi wiped her Sindor by throwing water on her head. Shahana comes there. Prachi tells Shahana that mommy apologized to me and says that she would have hugged me rather than apologizing. Prachi says today, I got my mother and she cries. Rambro hears Prachi and thinks that it is good that you stay back hearing my mom. Shahana says she will bring water for her and she goes. Ria comes to her room frustrated. Aliyah closes the door and tells Ria that she has closed the door so that she can throw the things and she can vent out her anger. Ria says to Aliyah that this is completely unexpected. I couldn't believe my eyes till now. Ria asks if mom really held Prachi's hand and brought her inside the house. Ria asks Aliyah to say, Aliyah not her head. Ria says to Aliyah that how is this possible? How can mom do this with me? She says she thought Prachi would stay back or Rambro would try to stop her. But mom? Ria says mom always regarded me as her daughter-in-law and now she has betrayed me. Ria says to Aliyah that she is pregnant for Rambro, though it is a fake pregnancy. She says if they should behave like this with me, and says wrong thing is happening with me. Aliyah says Pallavi says that she will decide about you. Ria says I am the master of my own life and I will decide what I will do with my life and others' life. Ria says to Aliyah that if Prachi did not leave the house, then she on the other hand would have to leave the house where Prachi gets more respect, right and importance than me. Aliyah asks Ria not to leave and says if you leave, then you cannot return. Ria says to Aliyah that she is not really leaving, but she will pretend to leave so that everyone will beg her to stay. Ria says that Prachi should know that I have much importance in this house. Ria asks Aliyah not to come out now, but later when she shouts and says that nobody loves her. Ria says to Aliyah that everyone will come behind me begging me to stay and Prachi will be jealous. Ria asks Aliyah to set her timing right and she goes out. Pallavi brings water jug into Prachi's room and serves water in a glass and gives it to Prachi. Prachi drinks the water. Pallavi asks Prachi to come and sit. Pallavi makes Prachi sit on the bed and says I will not talk about the past, and she asks her to forget everything which makes her cry or hurt her. Pallavi asks Prachi to share her feelings with her and says I will try and sort it out. Pallavi says to Prachi that you might be feeling strange that I hurt you so much, so how will I solve your problem? Pallavi says whoever hurt the person knows the treatment best. She says we cannot overdo the past, but we can make a new start. Pallavi asks Prachi to think about her helplessness. Prachi says I am understanding you. I know you were never bad with me. I love you and always, as you are a good person and I have no complaint with you. Pallavi says don't be so good that I see my wrongdoings. Pallavi says you are saying this so much that I don't feel guilty, but there is no word with which you can make the other person guilt-free. Prachi gets emotional. Pallavi keeps her hand on Prachi's cheeks. Pallavi tells Prachi that she is saying all this to make her guilt go away, but there is no word to make the person guilt-free, and she calls Prachi as better. Prachi says better. Pallavi says yes. You are my child who is away from me for a long time, and I couldn't wipe her tears and I couldn't argue. Pallavi says to Prachi that I am so sorry and I promise to love you and I will never make you cry again and I will support you and you will get your right back. Pallavi says Rambo will be jealous seeing our love. We will be a daughter and a mother. She asks Prachi. Ria sees them hugging and she gets angry. Rambo asks Shahana if she is saying the truth. Grandma says that Shahana saw it with her own eyes and that is why we believed her. Vikram asks what happened. Rambo tells Vikram that mommy took water from Shahana's hand and she told Shahana that she would take care of Prachi. Vikram says that Pallavi's recent behavior towards Prachi is very unbelievable. Grandma asks Shahana to take something for Prachi from in front of Pallavi so that Pallavi can take it for Prachi. Vikram says everything will be fine. Rambo says finger crossed. Ria is leaving the house and she thinks that someone will stop her. Rambo says that Ria should leave the house if she thinks so. Vikram asks Rambo to go and meet Ria sometimes because Ria also needs love and care too. Shahana says I will take care of Ria. Grandma says Ria's aunt Aliyah is with her to take care of her. Grandma comes to Ria and she asks her to walk carefully as the vase falls down. Ria goes back. Shahana says she is not leaving. Pallavi comes there and sees Ria going back. Aliyah waits for Ria to shout and says maybe she is talking. Ria comes there. Aliyah asks Ria why she did not shout. Aliyah checks and says that nobody is ready to stop Ria from leaving the house. Ria says to Aliyah that it looks like everyone already knows that I am not pregnant and nobody stopped me from leaving the house. Aliyah says nobody knows about your fake pregnancy. Ria says to Aliyah that nobody loves or cares about me. She says I want to lower Prachi and I want to show my importance to Prachi. Now I came to know about my importance as I deserve it. I want my importance. Ria says she wants mom's attention. Aliyah says to Ria that it was your idea to get attention and says nobody loves you. Ria says you are laughing in your heart. Aliyah says I said the fact and I did not make fun of you. Aliyah says when you have provoked mom against Prachi and when Pallavi stopped Prachi, did I laugh at you? Ria says that Pallavi mom did Prachi's grab Paresh and she apologized and pleaded in front of Prachi. Rhea says if Prachi had gone, then I wouldn't have any problem. She says Pallavi will become grandma of my child only and not of Prachi's child. Rhea pretends as if she is crying. Aliyah asks Rhea to sit. Rhea says I have done acting so that you understand what I want to do. She says she attempted suicide attempt in front of Dad as she knew that it would save her. She says I attempted suicide again when I wanted to marry Rambro and Rambro agreed. Rhea says to Aliyah that the fake suicide attempt is my drama and it doesn't go to waste because I later got what I wanted and I married Rambro. Aliyah says don't you think that we should call Pallavi? Rhea says she saw me coming here and she would come soon. Rhea says Pallavi coming there and she pretends to cut her wrist and she pushes Aliyah. Pallavi slaps Rhea to make the knife fall down from her hand. She asks, how can you think of taking your life? Don't do this again. Pallavi asks Rhea. Rhea acts like she is crying and she hugs Pallavi. She says nobody loves me or cares for me. Rhea says only you used to love me and you care for me and respect me. But now you left me alone and you accepted Prachi as your daughter-in-law. She says, who am I to you? Pallavi asks, did I tell you that I love Prachi? Pallavi says to Rhea that I am giving my attention to Prachi, but not my love. Pallavi says only you will be my daughter-in-law. Rhea says you cried and you apologized and pleaded in front of Prachi. I couldn't see that. Pallavi says if she stops crying, then I will talk to her. She hugs Rhea and asks her to calm down. Rambro comes to Prachi's room and he sees her keeping her clothes back in the wardrobe. Rambro thinks that Prachi is not going away from here again and he gets happy. A song plays in the background. Rambro comes inside the room and he tries to help Prachi keep the clothes back in the wardrobe. Prachi takes a sari from Rambro's hand and she keeps it inside. Rambro gives her another sari. Prachi keeps it inside. Rambro gives his hand to Prachi. Prachi is hesitant to hold Rambro's hand. Rambro holds Prachi's hand and makes her sit. Rambro keeps her clothes in the wardrobe and closes it. A song continues to play in the background. Rambro sits with Prachi on the bed and says, Prachi. Prachi says, I need some space, please. Rambro says, of course, and says, remember that this space should not distance us, and says, welcome back, and he goes out. Rambro gets teary eyes and he wipes his tears while going. Pallavi asks Rhea to look into her eyes and hear her carefully. Pallavi says, you are my daughter-in-law. Only you and you will be this house daughter-in-law. Pallavi says, I stopped the future, and says, how will you feel when this house child will stay in the middle-class family? No way. Pallavi says to Rhea that Rambro was helpless to stay with Prachi, but I will not let his child stay with Prachi. Pallavi says if Prachi takes his baby, then she will make him a middle class like her, and says I cannot let this family's child become like Prachi, and says it will be like us. Pallavi says to Rhea that Prachi will stay here until the baby is born, and then I will claim the custody of the child. Pallavi says just as the baby is born, I will throw Prachi out of the house. I will not let my blood get dirty. Pallavi says that it was like dying to talk to Prachi nicely and she has bent down in front of Prachi for the sake of Rambro's baby. Pallavi says Prachi will be here until that baby is born, and after the baby is born, then I will take my next action. It is always everyday evil planning against Prachi. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and please don't forget to like this video, share it, and give it a thumbs up, comment, do everything possible. And I will see you all again in my next video. Thanks for watching.